It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Bankie and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Bankie and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Bankie and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Bankie and Company alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture with the man Bankie and Company.
Is the traditional name for the Twin Islands, St. Kitts and Nevis. Also, good evening to the folks in the neighboring island, Sabre, Statia, St. Martin, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and also the BVI. Not forgetting the folks over in Montserrat, Antigua and Barbuda, and also they said that 60% of the inheritance over there is have of Kiddishon and Nevisian descent. So that's a lot. I mean, we go to a place and populate and overpopulate the natives and them. So that's so, but we're not doing enough population here. That's the funny thing about that. We never hear about that. So let me say good evening to the folks also in the Windward Islands, St. Lucia, and along St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and all up to Grenada, and also the folks in the diaspora from the Florida Keys straight up to Maine, and wherever you are through the United States, and especially the folks in Europe, in different time zone, in England, in Asia, and Africa. Greatly appreciate you guys tuning in. Whatever is appropriate, good morning, good afternoon. Thanks for tuning in. And also remember, if you want to be a part of the show, the telephone number is across the screen. And also remember to share the link and subscribe over to the YouTube link. And also on Facebook and Twitch TV. And YouTube says Trinidad Media House to check it out. Yahsonn, good evening. How are you doing?
Global greetings. I am giving thanks and praises. Taking in a lot of the showers of blessings that we have gotten over the past couple of days. As a farmer, for some who want to party and lime and sun, the rain is going to affect and hamper their lives. But for us, we're smiling, we're smiling and taking in the rain. All we're praying is that we don't get too much wind, to blood on the banana trees and sun. But the rain, oh man, we're smiling. So, want to say good evening, Oli. Want to say good evening, Layamiga. As Bankie would have mentioned, that's the original names for the islands. And it seems like that's the only thing that we have left from our indigenous people and from that indigenous language and time. And so we have to do our best to seek to maintain that. I hope for the day that we could continue just using those names. And it comes so normal that, that's all we use, Oli and Layamiga. Anyway, also want to say good evening to all the other people locked in throughout the entire Eastern Caribbean, Antigua, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent. It doesn't matter where you may be in the Caribbean, locked into us. Those locked in around the globe, well, we got to say good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, depending on where you may be, or even good morning. You know what I mean? Wherever you might be at this time. You could have been doing anything else, but you are locked into us here on a Friday evening. Most people party on a Friday. This is the start of the partying time, but people usually tune in and log into us. So we really want to let you know how much we truly appreciate the time and the efforts. We want to also encourage folks to log on to the YouTube platform. Go over there, subscribe, and like Real Entertainment Network on YouTube. We stream on YouTube, simultaneously Facebook and Twitch TV. So you can find us, streaming live at this point on those 3 other platforms. So, want to say a very special good evening to our guests as well, and looking forward to learn a lot more about the consortium, learn more about the protest that we would have had recently, and some of the issues and challenges that are being faced by the farmers on our sister island, generally. And so I would really anticipate hearing and learning, and we also sharing a bit of what's happening on the Nevis end as well, so we could have a holistic true conversation, as I would say, because we ain't canning anybody, so no conversation, true conversation. So greetings, welcome. Bankie, I guess you would introduce the guest. Your mic is on mute. Bankie, your mic is on mute. Well, I don't know. I'm not hearing Bankie, so I guess I would allow Kyle to introduce himself. And we could start with Kyle, and then we move on to Troy. So good evening, Kyle. Welcome to this edition of Everything Agriculture.
All right. Good evening, one and all. Good evening to the community of Real Entertainment Network. It's a pleasure to be here. I've caught some of your shows, and I just want to say I appreciate what y'all are doing, especially for the sector of agriculture. You're pushing your voice in the community, and that's a good thing. We need persons like yourselves to carry the torch and keep the light going for agriculture, because it seems as though our countries are not serious about agriculture. It might just be a talking point for certain things, but you guys are the real deal, and you believe wholeheartedly in this thing. So it's a pleasure being here, and I cannot wait to talk more about agriculture in general, which is one of my passions, and just to dialogue. So thank you for having me.
Yes, I want to say good evening also to Troy Flanders. But before you introduce yourself, by chance, are you guys brothers or related? You can do that when you respond. Troy. Yes, no problem. Brothers. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Troy.
Yes, man. Good night to all. Once again, that's for the opportunity to be here. I do tune into the program, not every week. So I will ask Banky to send me the link. It's much easier for me to catch the program at times. But when I do remember, I do tune into the program. And I'm happy for the opportunity. Yes, Kyle is my baby brother. My mother last child. Yeah. So I'm once again Troy Flanders. I'm a farmer. That's what I do for a living. I farm, and I just speak about the rain. I'm so angry with the rain because I do a lot of melon, and Banky will tell you that this is not good for the melons, right? But I'm still grateful for the showers of blessings. Yeah, thanks.
All right. Well, sometimes they say you have to diversify. So even though you may focus on the melons, you have to fit in something else that might be useful or will be able to help you in the meantime, if by chance the melons don't work out. But on a whole, it's really good to know that we have farmers who are thinking along that line as well too, to be able to have, even if it's one crop on a consistent basis. We really need to be able to have farmers like that. Bankie, I don't know if you would have gotten your audio aspect sorted out, but and he seemed like he is even frozen. So let me see what's going on there. Bankie, you there with us? Okay, no. So you seem like Bankie, your audio, you here with us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, we're back. Okay, seemed like you were having some challenges, but we would have had
Yeah, so
Troy
just
and
restart.
Kyle. Right, so Kyle and
I
Troy
hear
would have
everything
already
good.
introduced
Yes. I
themselves.
could hear, but you all couldn't hear me.
Okay, so it's just for you know to
Yes.
get into asking which one of them you want to ask the first question. Get into whatever the first
Yes.
topic might be.
Gentlemen, welcome to Everything Agriculture Show. I was saying greatly appreciate you guys taking the invitation and coming to speak to our listeners and viewers who have come to the sector. Try and not sure if you can bring down your camera some more so they can get a better view of your face. You kind of get in a half view of your face like the yeah much. Show your face, man. You're hiding far. Yeah, man. Much better. Great. People want to see what I'm speaking to. All right, Troy. I know you've been a farmer for many years, so give the people an idea who is Troy and how long you've been farming and some of the crops and stuff like that, and maybe some of the challenges you face within the sector.
Yeah, once again, I operate maybe about a 15-acre farm in the Paxton's area. That's between Passing Ground and Saddler, since St. Kitts. I've been farming on that land for maybe about 13 years, but for the past 3 years, I've been in farming full time. I used to do construction and farming, right? At one point in time, I was a joint partner in a construction firm. So I give up that life and just concentrating on farming now for the past 3 years full time. I do plant a lot of melon. That's one of the main crop, but I still dabble with a little root crops, potato, yam. I do that and little peppers on the side. But I mainly deal with melon. That's my main crop. That's good for you, banking.
So,
You want to expound on
yeah,
anything else?
that's fine. That's of course. That I mean, is anything you want to input? That's fine. I mean, you're telling your story. So, what make you get into farming? Put it like that. Where the interest in agriculture come from? Because most people look at farming and say it's a tedious job, lot of bending over and just a lot of excuses and stuff like that. So, what get you into farming? That passion for farming?
Well, I've been involved in farming at a very early age. From my grandmother, I used to go
Okay.
with her. So she mountain ground. That's what we call it, mountain ground. So that's real passion
Yes.
for
We used
agriculture
to go.
for years
Okay.
and years.
Yes. So you're
Kyle,
coming
you
from
turn
a
on cup.
farming family. So you're basically coming from a farming family.
Yeah.
So so it's like you are a third generation, fourth generation farmer. So which is good because sometimes growing up in that environment, you do some of your friends them don't have
So
those
I
chores
will
to
say,
do. You go ahead.
I
You
will
saying
say, I
something,
will say,
Troy?
maybe like a I will say maybe a second generation because I think my parents they didn't really get much involved
Kyla said no.
in that. But
Kyla
but
said no. Kyle
No,
keep quiet. Kyle came for me.
with
no,
third
no, no, no,
generation,
no, no. My
our mother
grandmother.
worked
All right then.
in the sugar industry. So
Okay.
agriculture in general, we come from
Exactly.
agriculture. The sugar
Yes.
belt, we're part
Yes.
of the sugar
Yes. So,
belt.
Well,
Saddlers,
I didn't
okay
classify
then.
the part in the sugar industry as farming.
Yeah, man, that
Yes,
part of it. That's a part. Of
a
course,
part
it's
of
I was
it.
about
farming. That's part of
non-sugar
it.
agriculture. Kyle.
Job soda,
I got you, but
you know that. Yeah.
yes, same thing, same thing,
I
yeah,
was
same
talking
thing.
about
All right,
non-sugar
yeah,
agriculture. That's what I talk about.
I got you. Yes, I understand, but that is good still. You see, cause I mean, you'll see, as a period working in the industry,
Yeah.
just when they're coming home is not a work like working in an office, so their body and everything will be and still have to deal with the children and stuff like that. So you see those women who work in the field really have to be tough and strong. and then to raise boy children. So I mean, the guy is, I mean, coming from a good foundation, and I must give kudos to that, because I basically coming from the same agricultural background. So anyone who I see, even into flowers and like that, I always show appreciation, because it's taking care of a living organism. And you see a beautiful garden, it means that person really have that interest to get it look like that, because you got to put in the time. Otherwise, it just wouldn't look as well manicured and the flowers is blooming and stuff like that. So agriculture, family background, you have been doing a lot. 15 acre, that's a very large amount of land. So how much of that land is occupied, that they occupied that amount of land? Because most farmers in Nevis not even have 2 acres, and you got 15 acres. That's a large amount of land to say when you compare to Nevis.
Yeah, it's a large amount. But you see,
So how you manage
when you
that?
plant melon, you rotate the melon.
Okay.
I have 3 workers with me. So it's myself and 3 others work on the farm.
Yes.
Right? So right now we have maybe about 5 acres. Right now, maybe occupied. Yeah.
Okay.
And
so any future plan for the rest
so
10 acres?
Well, I have right now. I have maybe about another 5 acres that we tilling right now, and then we have some that we have resting. So as the planting season goes, yeah, we will till some more and put some to it.
I got you.
That's what we do.
Okay, yeah, I got you. You have your program. You have your program in place already, which is cool. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Which is good. You have you have a system in place, which a lot of people don't really have a system in place. They're all over the place. So you rest in the ground, getting the land to build back up itself. So good program. I like to hear that. All right. You have been doing a lot within the industry, and then they reach a point where is you end up and be a part of a consortium. How does it reach to that point?
The consortium of farmers and food producers, you come from more or less a bunch of farmers who just tell themselves that the system is not working and they want to bring about some change in the system. So it comes from not a frustration system.
Okay. So what are some of the issues that
out of frustration?
What were some of the challenges some of the farmers was having it? So, some of the challenges that farmers face when they come to pests, monkeys, whatever it is.
The very same challenges we face today, the same challenges we face 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago. You understand?
Yes.
Monkeys, as you're talking about lack of finance, opportunity to get finance, and about you think about government is one of the main persons to bring in the input, but lack of input, you can't get quality seeds when you want. And the challenges just go on and on. You cannot get a voice. Imagine one of the main thing, one of the sticking thing is that government administration, they make decision for excluding the farmers. And most of the decision that they are making have a negative impact on our life. So that's one thing also we want to change. If you're going to make a decision for us, we should be a part of it. That's how we talk about the voice. We should be a part of anything that you're creating that will affect us.
Good.
That's where the consortium come out of. I think it's frustration at the system.
So how, but I mean, out of the farmers, but you have a numbers, like how large is it, how much numbers of farmers when it comes to both male or female is a part of it? And how was the 2025 rolled about, contributed in any, do you all benefited from that? How does that work, the 2025 agenda? I know the government had given out free drip line wires that bring a lot of planting material, bananas, planting, a lot of pineapples and different stuff. I know right now for agriculture open, they had some, we call it the some coconut slips selling for $5. I'm not sure if they started as yet, but I made to understand there's about 15,000 coconut trees came in, and they will be selling them for $5 per seedling, in a sense like that. So how was that rolled out when it come to the 2025 agenda and some of the issues farmers still having?
The 25 agenda to is something that the rolling out wasn't something that was well thought.
Yes.
Most of the things that was done and the thinking end, the consortium lend a voice to the rollout and ask the government to do it in a certain way. They refused to listen to them. So the rollout was just a show. It was nothing to move the sector forward. They had no, to me, looking at how they roll out that, they had no interest in moving the sector. It was like trying to get political mileage. Because you speak
So,
about the planting.
yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
So
So when the discussion
the
that they had
planting, don't know how many
people from
trees needed.
well, not much material. Some came over, but not much material. But when this agenda came up, the 2025, so there was no meeting when it come to linking up with the farmers, them to have an idea of the program and what interest when it come to. Because there's some farmers specialize in certain crops, and then they still went to land. We have a greenhouse villages and stuff like that are still waiting to hear an outcome when it comes to the greenhouses and how many people occupying them and stuff like that. I'm not getting any report on that. I'm not sure exactly what's going on with the greenhouse. But when it comes to the material, so farmers didn't have a say when it comes to this 2025 agenda, when it comes to the type of crops to be planted and which area will control which. Because so how was that done? It's just the ministry itself just.
so
No, it
So-
was a top down approach.
I think Troy would be able to give you
Because
his.
It was a
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying. I
Because
think Troy.
asking because
It was
on
a
my
top
end,
down
yes,
approach.
on my end over here. Okay, go ahead. What I'm saying, because on my end over here, we ain't have a 2025 agenda yet. You see, we ain't have no
I was-
meeting with no one, and this yes.
So I was saying I could give the inside perspective because I was in the ministry when they first brought it up, and Troy could give you the underground experience in terms of the seedlings and the kind of thing, right? So the 25 by 25
Yes.
came about after COVID hit, and the region realized
Yeah.
that we are importing some 7 billion US worth of food and stuff like that, right? The whole region. And the sad thing is that
Yes.
the government of the day, they did not really follow along with the 25 by 25 agenda because it started in 2020 and we did not sign on until about 2 years after, right? So when the new administration came into power. So you could see we were behind already. You're
Yes.
already behind. But the thing is that the minister, who is the current minister now, like Troy said, he wanted it to look like a show. It was a show for him, right? So he came and said that, we're going to be the best. We're going to be the best example in the region. We're going to beat the 25 by 25 agenda. We're going to succeed and whatnot. But the thing is, there was no plan, right? There was no plan. They had initially tasked me with, gathering data and that kind of stuff. So I gathered data to see the imports that we're having versus production to see which crops we should target, right? So myself and a number of other workers at the ministry and the department, we were able to compile a list of the target crops, those that we import heavily. And so we tried to present that kind of information to the minister and the ministry and that kind of thing. And so we left the meeting thinking, okay, we're en route here. We're going to get something done. And then we realized that the PS and the minister and some others, even one from Nevis, the farmer PS in Nevis, I don't know if he's there still, he was part of it, and they huddled together, and those three came up with their own scheme, right, their own plan. And they were saying that, okay, since we are importing 200,000 water produce, we're going to just cut it by 50 million. So they had their own thing, we're going to just cut it by 50 million. And so it was a scatter shot approach. So it was everything.
So you're telling me somebody
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
You're telling me three people came up with no consultation along with the farmers or the farming community or the sector itself with
No.
no input. That's it.
Not even real
So the
input from
stakeholders
those
who are
who working. Not even those who working in the
Yes.
ministry have had really much of a say, because the committee were and had like one meeting, and that was it. The man do their own
Yeah.
thing, right? So they had this kind of
Exactly.
shot approach. Like they say anything you plant is 25 by 25, right? So instead of targeting crops intentionally, they went and did a whole scatter thing. Because initially pineapple wasn't a part of it, because when we look at the imports, it wasn't like that. You know, we saw certain things that would, but then they say, okay, they're gonna be a part of it. But the thing is, they had no plan, because if you have to execute, it's 25 by 25. We need a plan from start to finish, including marketing, including inputs, including the farmers. There was no plan, right? It was just a vibe, a feeling thing. And so you could see how the execution was so flawed, because there was no plan to begin with, and they went and just did what they did. So try to tell how they experienced it from their end. Because from my end, and that was part of the point of contention for me in the ministry, because I did not believe in the way they chose to do it. Because it was we could have seen it wouldn't have been successful. And so now we see they gone back to 25 by 30 now. So they add on some more years, because what this initially started with wasn't it. So the rollout was not it. And I know the farmers. Like, look, for example, I've been shopping for the past couple of weeks to buy bananas, and I can't find no good bananas at all in the supermarkets. Can't find no good bananas. But yet, couple months to a year ago, they gave out so many banana slips, which means you should have been seeing our local bananas hitting, the local market, the local store. But you ain't seeing that, right? So that was just the inside scoop as to how the 25 by 25 came about. So try to tell you about how he and the other farmers felt it, and from their end.
Yeah, but those 30,000 banana plantings came in, 15,000 bananas for ripening, 15,000 of the planting. So that's a large amount. So in the banana supposed to be start harvesting couple months ahead now in the summertime. So the data should be showing where the extension staff will be going around monitoring these crops. So this is where the extension staff come in to collect. You should be easily finding bananas in St. Kitts. Try. I mean, what you can piggyback off of this when it comes to what Kyle just said. He was looking for bananas and he can't find the bananas. So where are those planting material at?
Well, I could talk about planting. True, there wasn't a proper marketing to deal with the plantings. Plantings end up on the ground, wasted, right? I think the same sets for bananas, because after the farmers then realize that they're not getting the banana shells, people just abandon the tree. You see?
What?
You have all these bananas coming in at the same time. They wasn't selling. You got to remember something. When mango is around, banana don't sell
right?
as much.
No, I mean, I understand that. So
but they did not.
If you're
you couldn't go up the marketing.
Yes. Go ahead.
You couldn't go up the marketing unit and purchase a large amount of local bananas. I was saying you couldn't go up to the marketing unit.
Yes. Yes, listening, Troy.
Troy is having some difficulty with it and that side over there. But it's quite interesting hearing what
that people used to take away.
Yeah, Troy is having some challenges over on that side. So,
Kyle,
what I am listening here and understanding is Bankie was saying that a certain amount, and you were agreeing too that because you were in the ministry at that time, that a number of plantings and bananas were brought in, right? Based on what Troy was saying before he got cut off or his internet is giving some difficulties, he was saying that the problem that we had was in terms of getting the data for what happened to those planting material was that in terms of the planting, a lot of the plantings were produced but ended up wasted because seemingly the marketing aspect of it was not put in place. And seemingly this is what is being said in relation to bananas. But he also added a component to the banana where he said that during mango season, generally bananas don't sell as plentiful, which could be understandable because we are in the tropics and certain fruits are in season, so a lot more people would eat certain things when they're in season versus right. And so I could understand that to some extent, but what
But your
what
son, the
you
Dominica
said?
boat still come in every week, and bananas and planting are still buying, so that don't make no sense. This is where everything's supposed to be monitoring, where at least you want to have a monitoring when these things were coming in to harvesting, and you let the Dominica boat in this period of time for the next 2-3 months. We have enough banana to just you got to put something in place, because that is the
But
purpose of bringing in all these banana suckers and stuff like that too, at least bringing up your banana stock for the local consumption.
but this is what I'm
So when I hear
saying, and
food wasting, it's very difficult.
so this is what I'm
So
saying and seeing. Seemingly, there is not a proper connection at this point between the farmers, marketing, and I would also add the processing aspect because this should not be a problem. Even if we have a surplus, I think that's where processing, agro processing, is supposed to come in and be able to take some of that surplus and turn it into whether it's planting chips or, what I mean, whatever other products that can be made with bananas and or planting. We do have some disconnect where this is concerned, and and you know, as I listen, I don't know which one of you made the criticism that some of these things are just for show. Like, they do these things to, what I mean? And seemingly, based on the information that is being provided here, well, that is kind of the evidence because then you see these picture ups and, all these things. But then when you're hearing on the ground from farmers that these are the real life experiences, it really makes you wonder. Um, Somebody says here it sounds like a lack of coordination precipitated by poor management. Um,
yeah,
Kyle,
which is
go
yeah,
ahead.
which is true, right? Because like I said initially, if you are going to launch such a program that should revolutionize the sector, it cannot be haphazardly planned. It must be it properly laid out. Because you're telling me marketing is a fundamental part of this whole thing. Because it wasn't bananas alone that wasted, ain't planting alone that's wasted. Because remember, y'all would have seen the circulation of the tomatoes being dumped, peppers were dumped, right? So a lot of fruits, vegetables were dumped because there was no way to absorb it. And you would see that even looking at the data, our imports for some of those targeted crops is going up. It is still going up because there was no plan put in place to catch all of the. Because look, one of the boasts is that production is up. Yeah, we agree, production is up, but is the produce moving through the market? Is it supply chain? Is going straight to the supply chain? And the answer is no. Yeah, you produce it, but it's not. There's no throughput through the customers to anything because again, trading. When you look at trade, there are no trade policies put in place to try to temper the imports. There is no aggressive marketing to say, okay, local is better, so let's market. Because you could win on marketing, and you could win on marketing. If you put the effort out there, you could win on convincing people that the local is better through marketing. So we don't even have to touch tariffs and those kind of things just yet. But if it fails, then you might have to use the tariff as a tool for certain things. But the point is that there was no forward thinking, no forward looking when it came to the 25 by 25. It was a show for now, and that was it because all of the slips they gave out. Now, I'm among agriculture persons. So I want to ask a question. Do you guys believe that we should have invested so heavily in bananas when our windward brethren kind of mastered that over the years? Because when we were doing sugar, they were doing bananas. Because when you're looking at imports, we don't count the curriculum, because we are supposed to be one. Because the 25 by 25 is all of us coming together. If you could produce something, you produce it well, you sell it to us, and we sell to you what we're producing well. So all of us ain't got to produce the same thing. So in my view, I don't think we should have gone into bananas that heavily, because that isn't one of our strengths. The Windward Island, that's their strengths. Their weakness might be things like tomatoes and peppers and those things, which is one of our strengths. So what I'm saying is that we should produce the lot of tomatoes, the lot of peppers, and send them back down on the Windward boat when they're bringing up the bananas. But that's just my viewpoint on that. I don't know what you guys might think from that perspective.
Well, from my point of view, I mean, they have, yes, definitely they've been into the banana production for a long time. Over the years, they have the different bags and so forth to cover them down, and now the processing part when it comes to make sure for safety and shipping, don't pack. No doubt about that. They've been doing that for years. But if we're going to move here into a crop like that, I mean, you need training is important, managing of the crops and stuff like that. And plus, we have disease here, and I think it's Nevis, the black sigatoka disease, and I'm sure the white sigatoka seem to be around also. So, I mean, cross-contamination, we do have the issue still in some areas, even here in Nevis when it comes to the disease. So if we're going into something, we definitely mean we should at least get rid of, control the disease and get most of these, because those other crops will still get contaminated down the road. So this is how I look at things. But if you're going to go into this kind of production, I mean, when they start to harvest, most of the suckers are the same size. So if they give out 15,000 suckers, which is my thing at the same size, you mean you'll have a close 10 to more than 10,000. At least half of it going to come in, it's dependent on management. So where will be the storage for these things to go? So when I look at things, this is how I look at things. This is going to be the reality. If you give it some will manage them. So you have to have things in place so I don't get scared. When it comes to stock, I don't like to see resources waste, because when I'm in the department, I was been put in charge of supplies and stuff like that. And I'm one of those persons. If you want wire, let me see you plant the post on them, because I don't want to see the wire lying on the ground. I will should be able to go back and say, well, I give out 6 rolls of wire to fence a half-acre land, and X amount of production have came from this effort and stuff like that. So it shows commitment and not just giving people stuff to put down. As you know, I've been waiting to hear the data from the pineapples and the bananas, and from what I'm hearing now, I mean, I'm hearing it from the ministry or the department or anything like that, and this is something I'm always looking forward to hearing back, even if I'm going out greenhouses, how many people benefit from the greenhouses, what type of crops are grown in them, because this is the purpose of spending the resources, and if the resources are going to be spent, it should be well managed, because it's accountability. Somebody got to be accountable for these things. And I haven't heard nothing about the greenhouses. I know I was in St. Kitts passing and they want to see 1 or 2. Somewhere over with that White Gates area going in towards St. Paul's towards where the name?
Butterson. That's where the village, Butterson Estate.
Oh, Butterson, close the main road there.
Butterson.
Butterson. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and that's all about 2 or 3. Just the stands, nothing of it. So I don't know what went wrong there. So that is a big disappointment for sure. Nothing ground. Just heading towards Gate Bay area. It's somewhere on a stretch of road there.
Yeah. Try was saying something?
Yes.
But the reality is that the greenhouse village that they touted for so long, nothing has become of it just yet, right? It's almost been 2 years about, and nothing has become of it. And the thing is, the greenhouse village was an idea that was that incubated under the previous administration, and the problem they made under the error they made in the previous administration was to give it out as a political tool. So they separated, they gave somebody here, somebody there, somebody there. They gave somebody just to be in his constituency. So again, we as workers went to them and said, look, I can't do it like that. You got to put them all one place, hopefully, and then manage it accordingly. Or sometimes even lease to own, that kind of thing. So that you don't want to be involved all the time as government. Something you want to, give them the start and then let them move from there. But they say politics intervene and they just gave them out willy-nilly. And then come to this administration now, it seems as though the same thing might have been happening. And you realize that 2 years in, nothing. And if you are serious about the 25 by 25, you know that greenhouse production could be one of the best opportunities to cut down on the imports of goods like peppers, cucumbers, tomatoes, because greenhouse production because look at Netherlands, look at Canada, they are dominating certain crops in greenhouses. So why can't we? Why can't we feed ourselves? Because let me tell you, pepper and tomatoes, those are one of the top 5 imported produce in St. Kitts. Peppers and tomatoes almost over $1 million combined. Something get $700,000 worth of tomatoes being imported, 600,000 worth of peppers being imported. So it's up there, right? It's only behind things like onions and broccoli in terms of importation value. So if you were serious about the 25 by 25, you would have made sure that these greenhouses were on stream since yesterday. But clearly something is going awry, because you can't tell me taking 2 years to get up even one greenhouse. So something is amiss, and they're not telling us what the problem really is. I thought there's a Freedom of Information Act that could tell us, look, this is the problem that we are suffering right now. That's why politics is such an interesting thing, right? Because they're going to try to hide this and try to hide that. But come tell us what's wrong with the greenhouse village, because it is a crucial part to any country reaching food security.
Yahsonn?
Well, I I am just intrigued by listening to a lot of what Kyle is mentioning, and I see the need for marketing, 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 marketing. We and planning. So those are two things, and I think Kyle has been saying that, and that's what he's been saying in a lot of what he's saying. We are spending money, which is our money. We are the taxpayers, and it's our money that are being utilized to have projects like, as you mentioned, the greenhouse project that is just there, not doing anything. And then you have plants that are being brought in, as we spoke to the bananas and plantains that we heard that are being wasted. And then I think at some point earlier I heard you talk about it was not just bananas and planting, but you also spoke to peppers and tomatoes and so on that were had to be dumped. These things are not necessarily making sense to the average person who listens and hear that we have a $200 million food import bill that we are seeking to reduce. But in the same breath, we are hearing that we have farmers growing produce that are being dumped and are just being wasted, just being on the farm, maybe turning back into compost, even if some of those farmers think like that. So, what do you think, Kyle? Is well, let me think on the positive. What would you suggest to try to fix an issue like this, which seemingly is definitely problematic? As I listen to it, it's really a problematic issue.
Well, like these are some of the things that the consortium is trying to fight for. These are some of the simple things that we want to sit down and have a dialogue with the ministry, the village government, so we can, trash out these things. Because a lot of the farmers in the consortium have been in this thing for years, like years, 30 years, 20 years, try 15 years. So they know what's happening, they know what it's about. But the problem is that the leadership, who is relatively green, in my view, when it comes to agriculture, right? Like, for example, the permanent secretary, I think he came back from school in 2018, and then he was advanced to the highest level in the ministry just a few years later. So you realize that the experience needed is not there. And you look at the minister now who just turned 40, 41, and some of the fellas in the consortium, like they're working in farming since they're babies, right? So one of the things we're asking for is a voice. Just give us a voice. Create something akin to maybe an agricultural board, right? An agricultural committee. Like how we have a tourism authority. We're just looking for something like the agricultural authority. Because if you're serious about agriculture, just how you were serious about tourism, because you see what money they pump into tourism. When the Douglas administration and them say tourism, when they shut down sugar, they say, all right, boy, taxi, we're going into tourism full. They kill agriculture, basically kill agriculture. So if you know you're serious, you need to put things in place, a nice board to advise, to tell us, okay, maybe no, maybe not. Look at Jamaica. Jamaica have cocoa board. Jamaica have banana board. So they have these different bodies that help them to formulate policies, formulate ideas, formulate plans, so that we can drive the sector forward. I studied agriculture in Jamaica, and you listen to the Jamaicans, and they feel that they are so behind in agriculture. But when you compare where they at in agriculture to where we are in agriculture, we're like how we ain't born yet. Because if they feel behind and they're way ahead of us, where we not start yet, right? So those are just some of the few steps that the council will tell you straight up. A voice and of course finance. You got to put your money where your mouth be. You got to put your money where your mouth be, right? Imagine the budget for this year was increased significantly. But when you extrapolate where the extra money coming from, it was towards the Tabasco project, right? The money was towards the Tabasco project. They put in $5.5 million towards the Tabasco project. You know what? You know how much things that money could have done for farmers? A nice revolving fund for finance. Maybe put it in FND or Caribbean Development Bank or something. You go get a low finance loan, something like that, because farmers need financing. We need it. And so these are ideas that the concession thing. Farmers have to go, leave the farm to go to this whole long rigmarole to get concession. And then, of course, it's up to the call of the PS. If you don't like you ain't getting it. Right? So there are so many structural problems that are in agriculture that if you're serious, look at the trade agreements. There are tools we can use, like the tariff. That's a tool we can use. There is a range in which we can charge on the tariff, a range. We ain't even close to the middle bound range yet, right? We ain't even close there yet. We're just allowing things to come into our island very, very cheap. I mean, yeah, that's what Trump said 10% for oil. We ain't do Trump nothing, but Trump said 10% just like that. Which means we could have utilized a tool like that a long time ago. So there are so many things that you need to put in place to try to alleviate some of these problems. The government spends some money to develop what I call it, the growth strategy plan from FAO. Big money was spent to develop the plan. It was a step-by-step guide to how we can reshape the agricultural sector in St. Kitts from 2024 to 2030, somewhere around there, 10-year plan. When the government now came in, they abandoned that. They totally threw it aside, right? They threw it aside. And so I don't know what they're running on. I don't know what plan they're running on at this point in time. But whatever they're running on, it's not really working for us farmers. And like I said, try to give... Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Troy. Okay, well, Troy, come in. And Kyle earlier mentioned $5 million for the Tabasco SARS project. That's what you mentioned? That amount?
Mr. Flanders,
yeah, go ahead.
As Yahsonn was speaking about. Yeah, you can hear me? Having some audio problem.
Yes.
I don't know if my location or anything. I'm using data rather than Wi-Fi.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
That was fun.
Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah, Kyle, you answer. That was you.
Okay, try confuse one.
Huh?
You know, there's a lag in the communication. Try, we are new.
You hearing me?
Yes, yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I was saying that as Yahsonn was speaking about the plantings and that the plantings. You hearing me? You hearing me?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. We hear you loud and clear. Just go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying one of the things that is lacking in the conversation is the extension service.
Yes.
The extension service is almost non-existent in St. Kitts. As a matter of fact, as part of the 25 by 25, it was promised that they were going to revamp the extension service and start over. That never happened. So you cannot make no projection because you didn't have paperwork in the field by the extension officers. So therefore, you will find food on the ground and you cannot report back to nobody who in marketing. So therefore, you cannot put no tariff from nothing. You cannot stop anything from coming in because you don't know what is on the island. And all of that, as Kyle was saying, supposed to be part of the planning. So when you do all of that, we have a clear understanding that farmer over there in Sanders have 1,000 pounds of planting. The farmer up Molyneux have another 1,000. We normally bring in 10,000, so that means 8,000 left. Who else got, you see where you could make up the 8,000? And then you realize that we have more than 8,000 on the ground. So no need to let all this planting come in. But the planting continue coming in, and the farmers who scattered all over the country have plantings and can't get the market. So that's where the problem lies.
So it
But the
comes
marketing
down.
division, the marketing division also have a role to not just be inside the office, but to come out of the field, come out into the field to have a relationship with the farmers too. Even though the extension staff do have a role, but all of them have to work hand in hand. So even if the extension staff they don't go, at least the marketing division pick up where they left off also, and also to go check the supermarkets. I think we have the marketing thing wrong within the department, and it's the same thing here in Nevis at the same time. Marketing that is not just you sit down and a farmer bring a food to you. You're supposed to have that relationship to know when the farmer planting, visit the field same way. Marketing have to be outside and inside. You still must have proper storage. If you don't have proper storage facility, and next thing, farmers can be waiting too long to get their money. So my thing is, fact, they must have a revolving fund. When a farmer's bringing him stuff, if he can't get all way pepper, he must get at least 80% or 75% because a farmer shouldn't have to wait for 2, 3, 4 weeks and more to get pepper when they don't work for, we don't go for all these months. Because basically, the marketing is controlling the government sector where they control the imports and exports. So they is the one who should be able to have a central unit area, which have to be big. And I ain't seen a big central unit in marketing area if you really want to take food security serious. If you want to control this food, this supermarket brings in. So something is really wrong right now. Because when you tell me food spoiling and all these things, and banana throwing, this don't make no
But
sense.
in the instant down here, Bankie, down here,
You want a
Go
little
ahead,
freeze up
I
here?
can't hear you, Troy. Yeah, go ahead, Yahsonn.
No, I was saying it seems as if in terms of Troy, he getting a delay in terms of communicating. So seem like sometimes when we already finished talking, he ain't even hear what we say yet.
Yes,
So he's still coming in on his end.
I got
But
you.
okay, what
I
we're
have
saying here, right, is and I've been saying this since I've gotten here. I've spoken to some of the officials on the Nevis end. And I've been pointing out that this is what is absolutely necessary. There is a gap, seemingly, between the farmer, well, as Troy pointed out here, the
but
extension,
farmers wait for 3, 4, 5 months, sometimes 6 before they get paid.
right? And so this is what I'm saying.
So
So you
weeks
need to
farmers
have
here might collapse. 3 weeks, 3, 4 months, 5 months. That's now.
where that shouldn't be.
so what would
That
what
shouldn't
would
be.
take a farmer 3 months to get paid? Where would that happen? I don't understand that. Where would a farmer have to wait 3, 4 months to get paid? Even a month to get paid? What would cause this long delay?
You not hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you. Kyle, something like this. What would cause something like this to stay so long for why some farmers wouldn't get paid
Okay.
for such a
Uh,
long time?
All right, so I guess it's how the system works, the bureaucracy within the government itself, because sometimes you have to do what you call forecasting as a ministry. And so you have to try to tell finance that next month, this is how much I expect to pay. And so if, for example, the bill is not forecasted within that time frame, then you might have to wait until the next forecasting period to get that money for that particular bill. So it's just a lot of bureaucracy. There's an next example where, for example, for fishermen used to come.
But the food no sell, the farmer food no sell.
Food sell. But the bureaucracy is just
money gone.
sometimes
Money there.
Normally finance handle most of them kind of thing there, right? But the thing is, sometimes when you have certain persons in the ministry, right, they know to navigate certain accounts and that kind. They know how to finesse certain things. They know how to get the work done.
Yes.
Right? But when you come in as a new administration and you basically freeze out people who have been there, you basically throw away people who have been there, who know how to get people paid, you'll see a problem.
Yes.
Because I know you had somebody who used to work in the Ministry of Agriculture, almost 30 years, the man in there for almost 20 years of 30-year career. And he was just tossed aside. This is a man who know how to get people paid. So them who come in new and stuff wouldn't really know how to navigate these waters. And so you'll find that that's called delay, because somebody might have this relation where I could call somebody and say, look here, so just thing up, start out that for me, man, because they establish them networks already, right? So it's a lot of things.
Over here on the other end, can you seem like on your end is like the marketing division in Syncit don't have their own accounts where the farmer stuff is sold, and where it probably take a signature from a PS, a signature from the president of a farmer's crop or whatever, to make sure, because that's how it works in navies. It seems something like this is work where farmers will get their stuff in a speedily time. Once the food is sell, they'll get paid. But how you always say, it's like everything goes through the consolidated fund in Syncit, so treasury is who would have to issue these things. So I guess it's set up different in navies.
So let me just say, that's when I was there. I don't know what has changed since. I don't know if I've changed. They made some announcements a few months back. So I don't know if they has changed like that, because, for example, with the fisheries, when I was there, what they used to do is give the fisheries a certain amount of money, like a little wallet. Like they give like $30,000 to buy fish for the month, right? But if they exhaust that $30,000, then if anybody brings in fish, they're not going to get paid until whenever they can re-up that amount of money, draw down the rest money. So you used to get problems with fishermen getting paid, because when the money for fish done, which was a little bit normally, they have to wait until the next tranche of money come down, right? So I don't know if marketing moved towards anything like that since I've left, so maybe it would have changed, but would have been able to tell you how they developed since then. But government on a whole, they're going on this whole forecasting system, and so kind of have delays in people getting paid and whatnot.
Yes, I realize the system in Syncit is designed way different than the system in navies. Whereas, it's the same, like the abattoir up here would have its own account where when they sell the money and then the farmers then will get paid, in a sense. So I guess it's really different, two different teams in a sense, but one federation where the system is set up in a sense, so it's more easier. But I see where you're coming from, definitely. But recently, farmers, there's agricultural open day along with Caribbean Week of Agriculture. How was that? I mean, that was hosted last week, Monday up until Friday, and then the agriculture open day had postponed from end of April into the last Thursday and Friday. Yes, to facilitate the Caribbean Week of activities. So, Troy, as a farmer, I mean, I'm not sure what the feedback, if you attended any of the event, and so I know there was a protest that you was a part of. So how was the feedback from the Caribbean Week of Activities and the Agriculture Open Day?
You kind of drop out. So I'll talk about now for me personally, for it to be the 30th anniversary of Open Day, I found it was a little bit lacking, because this was a big one. 30th anniversary. But when you look at the grounds and everything, you see the same thing we would have seen last year, year after year, that kind of thing. And for me, right, when I was going to school, I used to look forward to going to the open day to see what I could see. When it was hosted at the department, I used to enjoy that as a student. I did agriculture from first farmer to fifth, right? So I used to enjoy that.
Yes.
But over the years, it has evolved into more of a party kind of vibes, a kind of spectacle kind of vibes, right? It's like bands and
Of
this
course.
and that, and they move to the bigger ground to accommodate more corporate things. So you see the banks, them have the booths, and this have the booths to advertise this, and people selling clothes and jewelry, and so you realize they've kind of gone away from what the initial dream was for the open to put on display what the sector has to offer. Because if you can't drum it in with what the sector has to offer, they're doing something wrong. Because if you have to use music and this and that to drum it in, then something might be off, right? And so the open day, again, he left a lot to be desired from my perspective. And based on what I heard on social media, I think someone did a poll. One of the social media persons that influenced did a poll. They have a chat with 5,000 people in the chat. And they posted in the chat a poll
Yes.
to ask about the feedback. And majority of the persons responded that the organization of it was need a lot to be desired. It was kind of poor. So the feedback was kind of poor. And then somebody mentioned about the fact they had to pay $15 to enter was kind of a demerit from it. It was kind of negative for the event, guys. $15 is a lot of money in this day and age, right?
$15. $15.
That's what.
But why $15 before was $5? Why the 300% increase from $5 to $15?
Not too sure. Not too sure. But word on the street was that they might have artists and stuff like that, so they wanted to, in my experience, in my experience, right, when they're planning for open day, there have been times where I realize they're asking for more and more money every year, but they have never really shown the books to show if it's profitable or not, or that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they keep asking for more and more money, so they're kind of making it bigger and bigger and bigger, costing more and more. So of course, finance gonna want to know, well, how you could help me ease some of this here. So if you say we're gonna charge X amount of money, okay, fine, because that's something to pull back some of the expenditure, right? So I could see why they might want to, everything going up right now, all the prices going up right now, right? But as it relates to Caribbean Week of Agriculture, that is the premier event for CARICOM as it relates to agriculture. And what I saw coming out of it was a lot of paperwork, if I want to put it that way, like policies and this, policies and that, shake an agreement on this, shake an agreement on that kind of thing, right? I haven't seen anything tangible just yet. But what is for sure is that some countries are further ahead than others as it relates to the 25 by 25 agenda or the 25 by 30 agenda. Look at Guyana. Guyana is spending real money. I know they get the oil money recently, so but they're spending real money on agriculture. I see them invest mostly 20 million in getting their dairy sector up. They invested a lot of millions in coconut, in a lot of different areas, poultry, a lot of the soy and thing. And to the point where there was a report stating that Guyana was one of the only few countries in the world who feed themselves. Because they're being deliberate about agriculture. They're not like us. They're being deliberate. They want to see a sector, money going there, right? Look at St. Kitts. Look at Bayford's. Supposed to be this breeding thing and the center of excellence. All now say can't launch, right? All now say can't come off the ground. Greenhouse Village can't come off the ground, right? Schools, involvement with agriculture, that's not happening. It's just like there's a lot of talk, but and we were skeptical as to why we wanted to host it, when honestly we don't have much to really show. That was some of the feelings persons had. But tourism help us with the tourism market. Not wrong with that. Full up some hotels, get the taxi man them something. So you can boost the economy either way. But when it comes to agriculture now, I find it didn't do much for us. And farmers, like you said, we didn't benefit much from that.
But the Barefoot Farms of Excellence wasn't nothing going on up there. I don't understand that. And they're supposed to have some animals and special breeds of large ruminant and small ruminants. I don't. That was a big thing going. Was put out launch about Barefoot. So what's going on with that? I don't understand.
Well, to my last recollection is that not much is happening, and you could see it trickling down because
Yes.
What has happened is that the initial idea behind BFUDs has kind of changed from administration to administration. Like when persons who
Mm-hmm.
developed the idea, they were like, we could master small ruminants. We could be one of the hubs for goats in
Yes.
the Caribbean. We could be one of the biggest producers of goats in the Caribbean, mutton and that kind of thing. But you get that done. But as different people come in and have their own say, change to goat plus pig plus cattle plus now this is the what do you call it, the hatchery. So it keeps changing. And you know, if that keep happening, then how are you going to have a cohesive output? We're going to have a cohesive plan if everybody have their own little thing about it. Managers come and go, right? Now PS was once the manager up there. Nothing was done there under his tenure. And then the last one that was there, he has been sidelined. He's on a desk somewhere. And so it's like a revolving door and you're not really seeing much coming from it. But the idea of the BFUD's excellence, center of excellence, is a good idea. But the execution is just not going how it should go, right? So those are just some of the issues that you could see going on right now. And sometimes another thing to add to that, the whole livestock thing. If you look at, like sometimes you wonder what government will be thinking, right? You look at the department. If you go up there right now in St. Kitts, you have this big grey building, right? Multi-million-dollar building, supposed to be a veterinary lab. But then the question is now, who's going to staff that lab? Because you realize we have to import vets because we don't have enough vets on the ground to staff that lab. So we have to import vets. So you have a whole building. It's basically a white elephant now because nothing, the staff is not there. Nothing is happening like that. So there are just some things that you just wonder why, right? But if you're intentional, then we've gotten it done. Spend the money, get it done. But that's not the way we're going. I don't know if I want to talk about
there's a new vet building.
It's been there.
So
It's
there's a new vet building.
there for a while. It's been there
That's
for a while.
outside the conference room. Where the conference room? Which area is that? I miss it. Where is that?
Like when you're going over to where Bureau Standard is. It's to the back of the Bureau Standards.
Yes.
This big grey building, right? A big grey building up there.
Okay. I got you. I figure it was a part of the Bureau of Standard building. I didn't know that was a vet building.
That's
I thought it was
supposed to
something
be
the
a
Bureau of Standard addition.
No, it's where state-of-the-art veterinary lab to diagnose this, diagnose that. The equipment have been purchased, things have been done, and you see that not really happening there because the personnel not there, nobody like we had to import a vet from Trinidad because whatever happening on the ground, there's not much vets coming into the department, the government. So that's a problem right there.
Mm-hmm. So try your feedback on the Caribbean Week of Activities and the Agriculture Open Day.
First, I want to apologize for the in and out. I actually reached home now, so I using
that was quick.
Yeah, I was close. But I had just paused.
Okay, cool. Okay.
But before going to the Caribbean Week of Agriculture Week, why was it again? Because it got on a
Caribbean Week of
right. I could recall, Bankie, you had the PS, and I think must be the minister was on your program. But I know the PS was on your program for back, and they boast about fencing 2 acres for farmers. They boast about the drip program, and so maybe it might be an opportune time to invite him back, so he could tell the whole nation exactly how those programs going. Right.
Well, definitely, I already have the PS book for the end of the month. So the PS will be on for the end of the month. So
he will have
have a chance to ask him about the programs and stuff like that.
So he will know more about what is going on than Kyle and myself. Kyle could speak from when he was there, and Kyle live a while now. So maybe a year or two now, Kyle. So
but
the Caribbean Week.
I wish I today. I didn't know you're in the ministry no more.
Oh, no,
I didn't know you're not in the ministry anymore.
Well, I can't walk it up if anybody want me, so I had to just can't sit down all and doing nothing. Like, that was my life. Go walk and do nothing at all. So, we just went to teach people to
I understand.
So I will say,
Yeah, at the college.
You at CFBC?
Yes, I
Oh,
am.
really?
Yeah.
Where you teach? Where you lecturing up there?
Business.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah, but you see, my degree is in agribusiness, so I could afford to teach. I could teach
Yes,
either which one. So
of course.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Nice, nice,
But
nice. Beautiful.
I
You
will
go ahead,
say,
Carl. Sorry about that.
I will say the little that I gathered from the Caribbean Week of Agriculture, that it was in terms of the organizing, and so it was a bit poor. I think we have done ourselves injustice. Um, it was a lot of complaints, right? The execution was poor. The organizing was poor. Let's go to the open day. The morning of the open day, you have bulldozer up there, leveling out that, leveling out gravel.
No, back up, man. No, lad, man. No, no, no. I don't want to accept the one they tried. Back up. I don't want to accept the one day. I don't want to accept the one day. But that's the one day. After you accept, what you just say? What you got
Yes,
they said, but leveling up way to come in?
to come in, they're leveling out in front there. There was bulldozer there back out, what doing work, heavy equipment, they're doing work, and the morning, while the farmers
And then
outside they're
water truck.
protesting, they
Wow.
You mute.
You mute, Troy. Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Troy. Kyle, me not understand what your brother what Troy just say.
Well,
With
I
an
wasn't.
event, an excavator, and a push down thing. So which way have you have a water truck wet down the place one time? Me not understand the part. That don't make no sense.
But,
no,
but if you ask,
no. People will tell you when they go in, the experience in there was so bad. Children had to leave there with from ants bite and all this kind of thing inside there. We had a whole year to prepare the ground. You shouldn't have people coming out with bombs and they put from ants. I had a whole year, you know
Yeah.
what it's all about. You know you have delegates from all over the Caribbean. You don't let them have this kind of experience.
and dirt was an issue for you. The dirt.
And so apart from that, when you
I
think
mean,
about
and being to events there, and you know, we wetting water truck going on and wetting the ground and stuff like that. But I mean, I think that is an area where it should be always fully grassed in a sense because it seems like a central area to keep to having the event right now. So that area should be well maintained and keep as a land. So when it's time to have the event and the following year, whatever, 'cause other functions can keep in that area too if it is well maintained.
you
But
had more than a year
you should
to
not be
prepare
having
the area.
yes.
And not only that, I mean, from what I gathered with the Caribbean Week of Agriculture, that think its delegation, you find not one crop, not even one person from the crop division, you're talking about
Except
extension officer, was at any time, any event at any time. You're talking about the technical part of the agriculture absent from there. When other islands had the extension officers, then here in think it, and our crop extension officers wasn't there. It's a disaster. I don't think it was designed to help the farming community. It was all about somebody flexing muscle and show off and something. You hear delegates complaining about certain things that going on. Imagine you're going to start the car, you open there, you start, then podium, I come on the stage after the time to start. You just put a podium. It was embarrassing. You wouldn't hear these things, but it was embarrassing.
But coming up into the protest, what lead up to the protest, try and so I know you had farmers. They had different stuff written on their placards where payment is an issue, supplies. What lead up to that protest and that day of the 2 days of the agriculture openly? How did that came
Well,
about?
uh, I must say that I had decided that I would have staged a one-man demonstration. right? And I said it
Okay.
publicly. And some farmers called me and
Oh.
said, no, I won't let you go alone. I will join you, right? And the reason for the protest is to let the other delegates from the Caribbean know that all is not well in St. Kitts with
Yes.
agriculture. The very same complaints that we've been making for years and years, they seem to be falling on deaf ears. So we decided now, since you have delegates here, I will drive to them attention and see if you will hear what we are saying. We will get some attention from you. So we choose the open day rather than to go over Marriott. We chose the open day because we didn't want to have no confrontation with anybody. And we say we have a right to be there at the open day. We ain't get no invitation over Marriott. We don't want to create nothing over there. But we could go in the open day because we have a right there. You don't need an invitation to go there. So we decided that we're going to do maybe a 2-3 hours demonstration in the morning to send a message to the authorities that our concerns are still yet unattended. You still not giving us a year. We still want you to hear us. We want you to sit down. We want to get what we ask for. We at least meet us somewhere. Not ain't give us nothing at all. A seat at the table. You play down that. We're talking about duty free for diesel, for tractors, cultivating tractors. You tell us that's a low hanging fruit, but yet 2 years and a half after, you still ain't reached the fruit, which is a low-hanging fruit, right? We were asking for concession as the hotel industry and them do get. We want to give us concession on that line in par with them. We ain't get that. And then make it worse that the 25 by 25, I think you could recall, Bankie, that last year we had a lot of watermelon on the island, right? As a result of the
Yes.
25 by 25. But this year, we're having difficulty getting seeds to plant watermelon. The production of watermelon dropped drastically this year because you cannot get seeds. Most farmers were getting seeds out of Nevis. We are
So
unable
what is
to
the
get
issue with the
seeds.
supplies? Why is there issue with the supplies of seed if you're going to continue have a program in place and there's a marketing division where? So what's the reason? What's going on? Made to understand there is issue with there's no drip lines and different stuff. Car farmers calling me and there's no supply when it comes to drip lines and different stuff in St. Kitts. I mean, what's going on with that?
All the inputs that they gave out during the 25 by 25, input was given out free. Is that a part of the drip program with the drip line? And now
It seem
at
to
the
be
end
no
of
drip
that,
lines available.
huh? At
There
the
seem to
end
be
of
no
that,
drip lines available.
no, because when they give out all the drip line, they didn't purchase anymore. They did not purchase
I
anymore.
understand that.
They give out all the seeds and they didn't purchase anymore. You find that let's say for seminary seeds, it's 18 months now we're waiting on seminary seeds in St. Kitts. 18 months.
Really?
Yes. So these are some of the frustration that farmers are facing, and that's why farmers decide that people are supposed to hear us. We ain't gonna continue to take all this pain and keep it within. We're gonna bring it out so people could
But
hear our
how can
cry.
farmers? So which means farmers have to be led to be importing their own seeds then because the division is there to be
Yes,
subsidizing the
yes.
seeds at a lower cost where farmers are building the cost of the produce to the consumers, to the market, and they can't get access to the supply where they're available. This don't make no sense because even though you have a program and you know you're gonna be giving seeds to farmers or whatever it is, you still have to stock back up your stock. That's just automatically because the planting continue consistently. The planting don't stop, So if you
But
use up your stock,
but the,
you gotta take it back.
but the planting stop. It stop.
Well, that's the whole
We
point.
get
But that shouldn't happen.
so this is where they are. I guess when the PS come, we could answer this question. You start the planting program. You issue a large amount of seedlings, be it sweet pepper, tomatoes, watermelon, mostly. And now this year, how much you issue? How much you give up? How much was made available for the farmers? Almost nothing, because they had no seed. They used all the seeds they had, and they didn't purchase no more seeds. So no more seeds
This
available.
make no sense. This make no sense. This don't make no sense. This
We're
can't be
talking
true. I
about
don't know. This cannot be true. This make no
we're
sense.
talking about people livelihood, and not only the seeds. I mean, certain chemicals that we use to you're talking about like let's say fungicides and
Yes.
um they call it microcides and them things. You're unable to get them. You got a common chemical that we use that they call it caprid. It's months without a caprid.
Yes, of course.
Months without that is a chemical that we use on almost any crop. But it's months without that.
Yes.
You're speaking about other things for worms. We are out. So it's just like the department is up there with as an empty shell. You talk about plastic mulch. You use a lot of plastic mulch in thinking, right? The planting season is here. No plastic mulch up there now for over 6 months. So these are the
Is
kind of things
I
that
made I
farmers are
mean
saying, why we had enough.
this this is crazy. This is really crazy. This is
It's crazy.
crazy. I realize the protest. I mean, it was well circulated. It was well viewed. It seemed to went global and draw a lot of attention. In a sense that so hopefully this is something that can open up the ministry eyes and realize a lot of work really need to be done. And this goes about Singits and Nevis, not just Singits alone. It goes also for Nevis where decision consultation is important with the farmers, with the stakeholders, because them is the one at the end of the day who planting the food. Because the ministry have to realize they can't force, just set a policy in place and the farmers just got to follow it. You see what I mean? Because right now, is there any accessibility to funding where a farmer like you, a fisherman like Yahsonn can go and seek $100,000 and buy two engine a $300,000 a man like you and get a tractor and some other implements and build a greenhouse and improve your farm production and get some machinery for agro processing? Is this available when it comes to the National Bank, Development Bank, or the local credit union? Any money put in place for the folks in the agri sector?
No,
Not that enough. I don't know if Kyle have any idea of it, but not that enough. Any
no, no, no.
any loan
No.
any loan you might get might be a personal loan
Personal.
which will attract maybe 9, 10, 11% interest.
As it
So there's
stands
no
right
loan.
now,
There's no money
You know,
allocated.
Banky,
as it stands,
Yes, guide your son. Yes.
you know, kind of what I have a problem with as I listen to this thing here, that seemingly where agriculture is concerned, right now it is being played like politics, in the sense that
Yes.
what we're hearing, what we're hearing is just the campaign on both sides, but we're not necessarily getting the platform to get both of them. Because here is it now, we have Kyle and Troy here, and they're sharing with us some of the challenges and issues that are being faced. Well, Troy is a farmer, and he's facing it personally.
Yes.
Kyle has been an expert in the field of agriculture,
Agriculturalist. Yes.
so he's an agriculturalist, and so he's speaking from
Yes.
the internal side, the planning and the
Yes.
policy side of things and so on, right? And what we're hearing is what they are faced with and what we are facing with as a sector on a whole, because they represent a consortium of farmers. So they're not just talking for themselves, but they're talking for a number of farmers. But then now, you said at the end of the month, we're going to have the PS. And then we're going to have the
Yes.
PS and maybe members of the ministry to give their side of the story. And then it's like you hear A and you hear B. But what about the opportunity to hear A and B in the same room and get that real level of exchange and seriousness in terms of the issues. Because, like I'm saying, this is what happens with politics. You hear one side and one platform saying X, and then the other side and the next side saying Y. But then we are not like America, where we have these politicians debate each other, where you have that open debate where you get two of them right there, and you ask them this and you ask him that, and see how he respond and see how he respond to really figure out these things. And so we get this run around. We get this run around, and that's why I'm saying that's why I went around to explain that we get this run around when it comes to agriculture, and a lot of lip service in a lot of cases where we hear one set of nice and fancy things, especially when it's convenient, like when we had the week of activities the other day, when it's World Food Day, when it's the day to plant a tree or whatever event it is. And you see some of these politicians as well go out and they may have the shovel and encouraging people to plant a tree and all of these things and so on, right? But then we have the realities of these issues that we are talking. And people out there may have had the issues, because I think in the beginning Kyle would have said that people say that they're the opposition, so to speak, because they had the protest. But now, in listening to what you guys are sharing, people should better understand and have a better understanding as to why you all would have done that and why you guys would have chosen that specific time to do it. I mean, let's be realistic, people. We see protests happening around the world, and most of the time when people do protests is when they have some big international event or some event that would create enough attention, not just the national attention, but regional and international attention, so you get your message across. And so I can't fault you guys for choosing a time like that to, some may be upset, some may feel, and I think though too, maybe what part of the reason why some might have wanted to twist it that way is probably because I would have seen in one of the pictures that Mr. Gums, Azar Gums, was a part of the protest. And because we are so limited in terms of everything is political, it could have been deemed or maybe deemed as, he was a part of getting you guys to do this or whatever it is. And so people use that to deflect from the realities of the issues that you guys are bringing here to the table. And we are seeing, I'm hearing, before I continue here, I'm seeing a farmer here saying on the platform, to me, it's a war going on between the farmers and the department. And this is a farmer who I know very well. But we have this issue. One of the things that's been coming out, Bankie, too, as I listen to this discussion, is what is happening even with the SSZ as we speak right now. The lack of consultation, the disrespect to the people who are mostly affected by the decisions and policies that these people seek to make, or the choices that they seek to make and they claim to make on behalf of us. Because at the end of the day, whatever decisions are made in the ministry for agriculture, they would say that it is being done for the benefit of those who are involved in the farming industry. Now, if you are not seeking to create that environment where you could communicate with those people and have them have some input into whatever those decisions are, then we're going to have the problems like we're having now with the SSZ, where a bill was passed and now you're getting pushed back after the fact. And now you're seeking to want to consult after the fact. So these are some of the issues. So I see a comment here before we continue. Just going to read the comment because one or two comments on the wall, and we try to give our followers an opportunity to either call in. So let me at the same time mention that the numbers are sliding across the screen. If you want to call in, the numbers are 1-869-662-7196 or 869-665-8459. Yahsonn, you're making a solid point. I think you all should ask the guest to present more statistics, documentation, so it can be documented to counter the other side when they are invited. So that's a comment from Mighty Servant, one of the persons who are on the wall. So, any one of you who want to jump in, Kyle?
Yeah, let me chime in there. So let me just take you guys back a bit. So what we have to understand is that this is us coming full circle, right? Because we started out talking, hearing our views about what the issues are. So the consultant was simply asking for a voice at the table, a revolving financial fund, revamp on the concession, also looking at the inputs and those kind. We had a short list of things that we wanted, and so we started hosting a show on Win FM called from wait name again. Try what is your name again?
Farm report.
Anyway, a show for Farm Report on Win FM. And so the heat was kind of turning up on the government in a sense, because they were hearing us. And so they used that opportunity to say, okay, let's have some sit downs. So we have had multiple meetings with the ministry and the officials. We've had face to face. But the sad thing is that most of them never turned out well. They always turned out contentious. I think Bankie might have attended once or twice, right? But then it came to a point where, what we were saying was building momentum, the ministry and some other stakeholders decided to call, quote unquote, a truce. So they came to the consultant and said, look here, let's have a ceasefire, right?
Kyle, hold your thought, hold your point. Let me get in this call here. Hold the point. There's
okay,
a
no
caller.
problem.
Caller, good evening.
Good night, Brother Bankie.
Yes.
Good night, Brother Yahsonn, and the two gentlemen there, the two guests.
Yes.
Good night.
I didn't chime in at the early part of the program, but I could tell you, with the outcry that the farmers are making and have made, okay. And the ministers now, the minister who is responsible for that portfolio, as far as I'm concerned, you all could cry, and your tears don't mean nothing. These people are not into anything. They are all for themselves. Okay? And then to hear that the gentleman stated that about loan. The government should give them grant, but the grant should be micromanaged to see it is used to the effectiveness in the name of agriculture to prolong this thing moving forward. But you know something, every sector that the government should be involved in, they don't have no interests. All they care is for themselves. Because the farmers shouldn't be crying out. The government should be acknowledging farmers and automatically give them help. Okay? I mean, some of them going to fail. Some of them going to fall short. Not fail, fall short. But when it comes around agriculture, it is unlimited for help. Because that's food, that's sustainable. No food, you're hungry. Okay? The country is not sustainable right now in terms of food. We are not self-sufficient. We are not subsistence. So what else it is? Everybody have to be begging the government when it is government duty to see what is necessary and dive in. Lord have mercy with these kind of leaders that we have. Let me talk to the people of Nevis and St. Kitts, Nevis people, citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. As you all can see, and all you have heard cries in every department, every sector, this government is not helping in any shape or form. Are you going to give them another chance again? If you all do, dog eat your supper. You all eat your all supper. So you all better wake up and listen. Find some way to tune into these programs and listen. Knowledge and education and information. Information is power. Wake up. At the end of the day is to go to the ballot. Don't think about that voting. You have to participate. You shall participate to make a change in this country. Else you all will be begging, and getting nothing. I will leave it there for now, and I leave it for other people. Thank you, Master. Thank you, Yahsonn and Brother Bankie.
All right, thanks for your call, Carl. Appreciate it. All right, Kyle, go ahead. Sorry for the call to come in.
No problem. That's part of it. So I was saying that it is not like we haven't engaged with the ministry, but when the heat was turning up on them, and they called us to say, okay, ceasefire. So part of the agreement was that, okay, we're not going to come to the radio, we're not going to come to anybody to tell them, voice our issues like that so openly, so raw anymore. In return, we're going to work behind the scenes and see what we can do to help each other. So we agreed to that. 2 months passed, 4 months passed, 6 months passed, nothing. A whole almost 2 years now has passed, nothing. So the fact that we relented and we said, okay, we'll give them a chance, they took that as a sign of weakness and they did absolutely nothing. We continue on the radio program, we start ramping up the pressure again, agitating, and nothing still. So that's why we're hoping that if we do the protest, that might be a next way to get their attention. And one of the last straws where the protest actually came about too was this whole Nigerian connection. Because when we saw that, we figured farming dead in St. Kitts. We're dead. Farmers dead because this giant of Africa come down here. We don't have anything to offer them just yet. They're going to just take and exploit us for the most part. We felt as though our livelihood is dead. And the same thing you were mentioning about the zones. Because I think they said they wanted some Nigerian company to build a port somewhere down in St. Kitts to, facilitate trade amongst the Caribbean and Nigeria and stuff like that. We haven't even caught ourselves locally as yet. Imagine introducing that next element into agriculture in St. Kitts. What's going to happen to the local farmers? And so that was one of the next straws that brought the camel back. And we said, no, we got to protest because this is our livelihood at stake here. They're going to look to eradicate local farmers. Because I don't get why you want to go beyond our shores and not solidify. No, hear me out. I have no problem if we arrange some kind of exchange with Nigeria. But you have to invest in the local agriculture so we can actually meet them on a certain level. So we can be partners in this thing with Nigeria. We can be partners. So we got equal trade in a sense. But you can't leave us where we are down in the valley and then introduce something on top of that still. So what's going to happen to agriculture in St. Kitts? It's going to be non-existent. And then all this talk about the government going into farming themselves, the Tabasco project, is just hit after hit after hit for local agriculture without anybody there to help us in any way, shape, or form. And I know when they come on the show, they're going to have their own view on things. Because we are not looking for no war. We're not looking for an antagonistic relationship with nobody in the ministry. That's not where we're about. We just want to have a say in how we think policy should be. We ain't saying we're going to rate the policies, because that's not our job. We just want to know that we have some kind of consultation and you hear us. You hear our voice. Because I remember there was one point we were asking for a voice, and when the pressure was high, they hurriedly draft up this thing about a committee. And the minister, the PS can be the head of the committee, and looking for a person to apply to the committee. That was a one piece of paper, and that's it. Never again touch that. Because after this so-called ceasefire, they felt as though, well, we got them where we want them, and so we ain't got to do nothing after that. So yes, we've had dialogue with them face to face. We have tried all different avenues, but they're playing politics with the agriculture. And keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. The consortium started under the previous administration. So understand, this isn't about politics. This is about our livelihood, because it started under the previous administration. I'm not afraid to say I support the People's Action Movement. I support the party, right? I'll tell you that. But they were in power in the last administration. And I personally stood up in a public meeting and let them know what wrong they're doing in agriculture, because it is bigger than party politics. So you understand, it's not about just party politics anymore. We don't bypass that. Right? Troy is a PAM, we run for PAM, but in the last administration, we did standing up for farmers because we believe in what we believe in. We believe in driving the sector forward. We had meeting with the previous permanent secretary too, but things happened and we didn't advance. So the government is continuous. So we started there. We're going to continue on this one until we are able to see the sector growing.
With the Tabasco SARS project, does the ministry or the department had consultation with farmers? How will this project work? How they will be going to crop? How much they will be paid, negotiating the prices and stuff like
Oh
that?
no.
What supplies will be injected into these things? And so how does this work?
All right.
Because I don't have an idea how this works.
Yep.
What?
Bankie, you out the loop for
Who I'm going to crop? Who I'm going?
you out the loop for you, man, because remember, one of the agreements with the Tabasco company was that no local farmers could be a party because they have to protect the IP. They have to protect the intellectual property.
What?
The
Women
local
who said that?
That was said by the minister.
The minister, all them said it.
Huh?
They're going to
So
protect trade secrets.
So who I'm going? So who gonna go?
This is
The government?
the ministry
government.
official. Government.
Who?
The government.
So they don't hire
The
people? So they don't
government.
hire people like you're going through again?
They say pep workers or
Yes.
step, whatever you want to call them now.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
man, that's what it. There's no
It's
benefit.
it will be 100-acre government run farm. Government fully operate the farm 100-acre. And one the thing also
And
is that the Prime Minister says he start with 100-acre and he gonna go up to 300 acres.
so grow these peppers. So who paying for all these inputs?
I assume it's the
So how that
taxpayers.
works?
Well, remember, I sent you the budget. So just scroll down to page, I think 186. You'll see $5.5 million allocated to the Tabasco
Yes.
project. 5.5 million of our
But
taxpayer money allocated to a foreign entity. So you see what we're going with here.
From my understanding, it was supposed to be like negotiated with the farmers, and if they're gonna say, well, they're gonna go the peppers for $3, $4 a pound and whatever, and then the peppers will be exported back to Louisiana to the company. So what no? So what the peppers gonna do? How they're gonna process the peppers? How this gonna? This is, I mean, well, I guess when the PS come on the show, this will have to be explained more, cause there's still no clarity.
There's
So
no
the government
clarity.
is
No.
gonna hire people to grow these peppers.
The government said they'll hire step pep workers to work on the farm. They said that in their press
So where these
conferences
peppers
and
gonna be
whatnot.
stored at? Okay, let me take this call again, Kyle. Hold on.
No
Caller,
problem.
good evening.
Bankie, this is Winston. Welcome again.
Yes.
And I am back. I am actually on the back track, moving forward. You are ahead of me with the program, but as I observe and I will try to speaking about the Nigerian company that anticipated coming in with whatever investment, the new DACA or whatever it is. Now, first of all, the government have this thing here formatted backward. They're working backward. They're working backward, coming forward. They should be working forward, going forward. Look at this situation. A king is not honored in his country. The farmers are not recognized in the country of St. Kitts and Nevis. Our government rather to go out. Yes, the farmers don't have the money to invest, but the government could work with them. They could try a grant. They could try grants. Because agriculture is the most necessary thing, and including agriculture is water. But that's a must. There are some things we have to try and do ourselves. And then if we need help, another helping hand, then we could reach out. But there is no effort from the government, the farmers, and not those farmers in other ways. Too much begging, man. We support the government. The government support grant. Okay, the government is responsible for the infrastructure. The government is responsible for certain things. The government is responsible when a man is down to help him up because they are in dire needs. Government have to take responsibility as humanity and dignity with respect and honor. But they all sit down there, we put them there, they get comfortable. All they care is to have enough money for them to draw their paycheck every month and milk and bleed and rape the system. And that is wrong. And I condemn that. We need new government. We need a new government with new plan. We need to think of the future and think about everyone. No one shall left behind. None. And I mean it. All we got to do is get together and sing one song. Get rid of them. Winston welcome said that, and I stand behind that, and I will not change it. Bring in Bankie. Bankie is a good man. Yahsonn is a good advisor. And wherever he fit in, and there are others locally. Okay? I will help all of you. Every need, every necessity in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I am begging, asking, plead for the chance. I shall help you all. That will. I shall. It is a commandment that I have been given to help my people. And it shall be done. Bye for now.
Thank you, Carlo. Appreciate it.
Thank you again. And the two guests, keep up your all fight. Don't be discouraged. Keep your all mantra going forward. Because one day, the shaking, they're going to tumble. Bye for now.
I appreciate it. What I wanted to ask Troy and Kyle.
Thank you. Before
Yeah.
you
Go ahead.
before you get in, let me
Yes.
just bring in this comment that is on the wall and respond to it. So it says, "Blessed love, peace and blessings, brothers. I think you should invite the ministers of agriculture on this show for transparency. I want to at this time also take the opportunity to invite the Honorable Samuel Duggins and also the Honorable Eric Evelyn and Nevis to the program. I want to also assure the person on the wall that we would have had the minister on our program in the past. We would have had the PS from St. Kitts in the past on several shows. We would not have had the minister on Nevis, but we would have had the former PS, and we would have had the director of agriculture at Nevis. So we could also almost consider as a host, a guest host, because he's, always open to come to the program. And so I want to take the opportunity to let the person on the Facebook or the YouTube platform who made the comment, Troy Sadio, know that we are open to having the ministers on. And so, like we're having this conversation, it would be nice to actually really have the opinions and the views from both ministers' sides. So, Bankie, maybe we could see if we could get the minister to join with PS Fleming when he's coming. Maybe for some other time as well. So you can just continue. Just wanted
Well, no problem. Well, I can extend the invitation out to the minister, and if he can be available when the PS is, they'll be cool at the same time, so both of them can be able to give an overview of everything went down and to answer why there's lack of supplies and different stuff at the department when we're trying to improve the 2025 or 2030 agenda. But what I wanted from Troy and Kyle is, Troy, what are some of the things you'd like to see the sector move forward if you had a choice, and what are some of the farmers, the needy fisher folks, and those in agro-processing overall to drive the sector forward, which will be more conducive to a point where we want to be at?
Okay. Like I always say, let me put a disclaimer first. We are not here
Yeah.
to represent the consortium. We are members of the consortium,
Yes.
right? But we are not here speaking for the consortium. Okay?
Yes.
I put out that so that nobody will say that the consortium is saying these things. And I always find that finance is one of the biggest challenges that farmers face. Once you have access to money, you find like even the seeds and the chemical, you might able to import those things. you might not depend so heavily on the ministry for these things. As long as you could have, you got the money, you could do something. So finance to me is one of the biggest challenges that farmers facing. When you come on policies and so, right, the voice, the say, is very, very important to advance the farmers, because certain things that's happening right now, if the farmers had a say, it would have been otherwise, right? Like for instance, when we speak about the drip program, it's okay to say about the drip, you give farmers drip line, but you give farmers who don't have no running water drip line, what help will that be to the farming community? When you can go out and say, yes, we give them drip, and we put down, we give them, what is the black mat?
Ground cover.
Ground cover. We give them that, right? You ain't gonna run in water, so you pay me nothing to you. You have the ground cover, you might be able to produce certain food you can't get themselves. So you realize it's all about looking good, but not meeting the needs of the farming community. I put it that way. You look good, but saying you can handle out this. So when you find out that the Ministry of Finance may realize this amount of money is spending in agriculture, but where are the returns? Maybe that's the reason why we are having difficulty, because when the Ministry of Finance say millions of dollars already spent on the greenhouse village, but I ain't seen no greenhouse finish. Millions of dollars already spent on the Barefoot Stud Farm, but it's not operating. So you find now the Ministry of Finance now with scarce resources may start to pull back and put the money somewhere else. So you look at that, it negatively impacting the farmers because you're
Troy,
unable.
I want you to hold your thought. Hold your thought. I have a call coming in there. Somebody. Caller, good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you and the guest and to Yahsonn on the other side.
Yes, good evening.
The two guests. Yeah, real quickly, I just want to say to these two guys, first of all, thanks for staging that protest at the Agriculture Open Day. And I just want them to keep up the good works and keep up the fight going forward. Agriculture is something we're supposed to be heavily investing in St. Kitts Nevis as a small island state, and we just can't seem to get it together yet. And I don't see why. In the small state, small population of St. Kitts and Nevis, I cannot see why we cannot feed this small population up to now. Why is there such a back and forth between the government ministry and the local farmers? Question is this. We move with the 25 by 25 agenda. What I want to ask is, why we ain't seen any stats to show the public if we had a reduction in the import bill last year? We should get some stats in that regard, so we can see if any improvement has been made to bring that import bill down. Different than that, the Prime Minister is talking about moving in coalition with Nigeria with some trade. But how can we do that, right? And the local farmers are crying out for all of these inefficiencies, wastage. Until the day when we are said to be fully self-sufficient in food, like Guyana is, I don't see how we can talk about exporting to a foreign country. And I'll leave it there. Thanks a lot, man. You guys have a good night.
I appreciate it, caller. Thank you. All right, go ahead, Troy. You make pause. You mute.
Yeah, quickly, I realize we're running out of time, so I will just wrap up here. I was saying that until you believe in the farmers, you won't have the mindset to help them. I don't think they believe in the farming community. I don't think the administration, this one and the one in the past, and then they ever look at agriculture as a way out. I didn't think they put agriculture on a pillar of economic development. I don't think so. When you place agriculture there, then you start to put money
Yes.
towards agriculture. So I will pass there for
Agreed.
now.
Agreed. Kyle?
Oh, you wrapping up? What was the question?
No.
I
We're
don't know
not
if
wrapping up. We're not wrapping up.
Oh, I hear Troy saying you're wrapping up.
No. Try again. Another round to get before you close out.
This ain't the radio thing, man.
Fast.
This ain't the radio thing. So you got the same thing. All right. So,
Yes.
No, this ain't the radio, man.
No.
This ain't the man them network, you know. Do the thing. So if you got more to say it. If you got more to say it.
Yes, it's safe. Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
Bankie, before we
go ahead,
continue,
Troy.
before Troy or Kyle continue, there's a question here. When the word farmers are mentioned, what percentage of farmers are being talked about? Can I assume that the larger percentage of the farmers in St. Kitts are taking the position espoused here? So he's trying to figure out, like, you know, how many farmers are being represented when we say farmers, because I guess, you know, it seems as if we're just generalizing farmers. So he's asking what percentage of farmers are being talked about, and he's also, you know, saying can he assume that the larger percentage of farmers in St. Kitts are sharing the same position that, you know, you guys are being presenting here. Sorry.
Okay, so if I'm to take, let's just use a non-scientific approach to it, right? We are in the consortium, and the consortium has members that are from the major corps in the country, right? And so leaders from those corps are part of, some of them are part of the leadership in the consortium. So when we're talking about farmers, we are talking about majority of farmers in St. Kitts. Majority of farmers would channel their frustration. If you see the consortium chat, farmers are just cry out for what the problems they are going through day after day. So it's not like it's a one to anything. And here's the thing though, it's very difficult to even put a number to farmers in St. Kitts because often now the ministry, the department, hasn't had a proper registry of farmers in St. Kitts. So they can't even tell you, yeah, we have 500 farmers, or we have, you know, but for those who are major producers, that's the issues there. We're having the same issues because, I mean, the same is the same. Because if you look at the tractors, and everybody could own tractors, but yet the ministry, the department has tractors and they have backlogs and those kind of things. So persons are crying out about land prep, and if you go to buy your inputs, of course, you know, out of stock. That's majority of the farmers. It takes somebody with a hefty amount of finance to import a pallet of anything if push comes to shove, right? So yeah, majority of the farmers are experiencing these difficulties because I did some research or some interviews and whatnot with financial institutions, and we asked them about the portfolio of loans in the agricultural sector. Some would tell you 0.001. Some would tell you none. So you see what I'm saying? So almost none of them have lent any money to farmers. That's how bad it is. So yeah, it's majority of us suffering. And somebody mentioned something about the saying about king in your homeland or whatever. One of the problems I've observed with this government in particular, and even agriculture alone, this government in particular, I find they have the view that overseas, outside is better than local. Because for whatever reason, they go beyond our shores, beyond our borders, to find people out there to come tell us, or to come rescue us, or to come tell us what to do, come tell us how to do certain things. Like, what is our literacy rate? Our literacy rate is 90-something%. People went to school and come back. So we brought back knowledge and information from out there. There are so many capable persons right here in St. Kitts and Nevis that can do so much of what they are looking outside for. I've sat in forums where they have consultations, and these foreigners getting the money, but we are the ones generating the ideas. We are the ones pushing, looking the data. We are the ones doing all the work, but they are the ones getting the money. I remember that time I was in when this ministry first came into play, this agriculture, this administration, and we had a kind of brainstorming session, and they invited the Taiwanese. Normally, it would be among our locals. They invited the Taiwanese, and their first persons they addressed to get ideas were the Taiwanese. And I was like, why y'all asking them? We are the ones on the ground. We are the ones who understand our local culture better than any foreigner could tell you. And so I started spitting out ideas. We could do this, we could do that. Terrorism like confused, like, what y'all asking me? What y'all asking us? We just here to lend our support. So you lead and we bolster, we support.
Yes.
And they're asking them about how to improve Senegalese agriculture. Like, we are people who know how this thing go. So I don't appreciate how they want to run out to get the ideas from outside when there are persons who went to school, did the thing, do what they had to do right here in St. Kitts and Nevis that can do the work even better because we understand the local context more than any foreigner could possibly.
Yahsonn? Your mic pause, Yahsonn.
Yes, I realize we have already gone on the tours, but there are a number of things that I see a number of questions that are still on the wall, and I wanted to ask a question in relation to. I realize Troy would have.
Read out the questions them too.
Okay, so Troy would have put the disclaimer that they're not necessarily representing the consortium at this point. They're representing themselves, so to speak, at this juncture. However, I would ask in relation to yourselves and also in relation to the consortium, if you guys wish to respond for the consortium in this response to, but what is your guys' position in relation to the cannabis industry and it being utilized as a revenue generator? And I realize Troy mentioned the fact that we are not seeing the agriculture industry as a means of creating revenue or a way out. I said this also on the backdrop of the SSZ, where we're seeking to, as Kyle was just talking about, giving foreigners, looking to foreigners to bail us out or to things like that. We don't see any serious plans to allocate lands for farmers to do like large scale production, like have 100 acres of avocado, have 100 acres of breadfruit, have 100 acres of salsa, maybe sugar, apple, limes. Your thoughts in relation to that aspect? And like I say, first up, the cannabis side of things. Do y'all think that can be a way out, and that is something that you guys would invest in and believe that we should be seeking to push forward? And or if the consortium would have had any discussions along that line as well?
Let me say this about the cannabis. I'm not too much familiar with the cannabis issue. I mainly deal with food crop. I know Bankie could lead on this one. I'm more deal with vegetables and food crop, right? But the little that I know of the cannabis, I think the laws that are passed and the license and so, just by how they spell out the license and so, they show little interest in the local. Because when you to reach certain level, you got to invest certain amount of money, which might be far out of our reach, right? I think Bankie should be able to give more under one. I don't know what Kyle know about it, but that's the little knowledge that I have about the cannabis. If the playing fields are level, it could create something in this country that will add to GDP. Could actually lift people out of poverty.
Okay, so we can't talk about it from the consultant perspective because, as we said, they deal with food. That's our main thrust, food production. So the consultant, maybe some might have their own side with thing on that, but as a consultant, it's food we're looking at. But from my perspective, as it relates to the cannabis, uh, well, I think that we are coming in kind of late, right? From my perspective, kind of late, because even trailblazing nations like Netherlands and those places, it was a big thing to have tourism, cannabis, cannabis. So you come in and smoke and the different strains and whatnot. Even they start losing revenue from that. And from the examples I've seen in Jamaica, where Jamaica kind of introduced certain parts of it, I realized that a lot of the richer families are the ones dominating. Like, for example, before I left there, you had the Mali brand coming through to try to cultivate their own cannabis whole thing. So those big names, the Bob Marley, the brand. And in America itself, it has always been what you call big pharma who took advantage of the cannabis industry. The small man always getting squeezed out. The small man is relegated to the kind of specialty shops. But in saying this, I feel there's room for the tourism side of things for cannabis. I feel the medical part of it might have gone. But like Troy said, the prices, the fee of entry is so high that it's not targeting the small man. So the small man can't even go to a nice little specialty strain shop or something like that. So when tourists come in, they understand, okay. And then the laws in our land, the laws are still kind of contradicting because they are saying do this, but yet you see them burn that. And so there's so much to be worked out still when it comes to the cannabis industry that I think we are some years from benefiting from it. But there is room still for, I believe, if you meld it with the tourism sector, there's room for that because some people travel to find out, imagine Sugar City strain, something like that. You brand it like them kind of Liamiga strain of this, and you come from a tourist and you're like, I want to see the Liamiga soil, how this one tastes, how this, So there's room there for marketing and pushing it from a tourism perspective. So that's my personal thoughts on the cannabis side of things.
Fair enough. As we continue, I'm just gonna drop some of the questions because we should be wrapping up in just a bit, but I'll just try getting the questions on the wall before we leave. Mighty Servant asks, the 25 by 25 is a CARICOM project across CARICOM member states. Have there been a comparison done to see how it is faring in other member states in comparison to St. Kitts and Nevis? Then we have Troy Sadio asking, does the Ministers of Agriculture have a budget annually towards farmers that they can present to the citizens and farmers? Yes, I could answer that one. The Ministers of Agriculture, they do have an annual budget. It's in the budget, and so you can actually, when you see the budget for St. Kitts and Nevis, there should be budget allocated to agriculture. But if you're saying specifically to farmers, I'm not certain if there is a budget specific to farmers. So I reread that question, and yes, I don't think there is something that's specific. But I think that's what Kyle was sort of alluding to with the revolving fund, where you would have a certain amount of money that is there that farmer who maybe want to, improve on his agro processing or maybe buy new equipment, or that at least he could maybe borrow the money for maybe at 1% or whatever, and then pay it back or whatever the case may be. Mighty Servant. So the first question, remember, you want to answer the first one? Answer the first one.
Yeah. The question going fast, man. Okay, so as it relates to the 25 by 25, if you look at ECCB,
hold the task, let this Carl come in and then pick it up. Carla, good evening.
Bankie and Yahsonn and
yes.
Troy and the other gentleman there again. This is Winston Malcolm again.
Yes, Kyle. Yeah.
It's not just this program. I heard these gentlemen pleading for help from the government. And probably a private investor could also, if they are hearing too, can pick up on this. But as I told you already, my brother, in order to get things done, you have to go in the fire pit. You can't just... It is a track record of the government, how they are conducting business. In order for you to get anything done, you got to jump in a hot pit. Else you could wait long. I told you already, brother. Jump in the political arena as an independent. Else that's the only way things gonna get done. I am a candidate. And you know why I am a candidate? Because I've studied the track record. You think I'm going to be begging and not getting anything done? That's a waste of time. In order for you guys to make something work for you and other farmers, you have to go and do it yourself. Ask the people to vote you in so you could fix the problem. You're not the expert in that sector. You all are going to be carrying this portfolio. Should needs be. You're just talking. I'm tired of hearing talking. You don't have no interest in going into politics, but politics is for everyone. Politics is what affects you. Politics is what make you. But do it good. You can't wait on those people to help you. Are they going to do it? You will wait long. Go in the ring, jump in as an independent party. And an independent individual is a party. You don't have to have. All you got to do win your seat. Win your seat and then move forward. First of all, try to win your seat. And then there will be an election. We have 11 constituencies in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Try to gain one of them. Jump in the one that you think you are strong and you could make effectiveness. You can't just sit down there and talk because you're going to be talking forever, sir.
Thank you, Carla.
So you got to go a step higher. Do not be a follower, be a leader. And I'm talking to you because that's what I'm doing. You think I am going to be begging the government for anything? I have to do it and fix it myself. But we can say country above self. We cannot be selfish neither. Dignity is your dignity and your dignity is mine. Those are the measures that you got to. Nothing going to work.
Thank you, Carla.
Help yourself to help others. With no respect.
I appreciate it.
Yes, I can't say no harder than that, brother.
Yes. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Kyle.
Okay, so for the two questions, as it relates to comparisons with the food import, the ECCB have a tracker on their website where they are tracking the currency union to show where they're at in terms of the reduction in the food import bill. And I'm pretty sure, as you know, it's going up still. It keeps going up, right? So they got up to 2023, the measurement for that, but it's still going up. So you could choose from St. Kitts, you could choose Montserrat, you could choose St. Lucia, and Guyana has shown that they are somewhere ahead. So in comparison, you can use that website or you can read the news and Guyana would be somewhere ahead. As it relates to budget for farmers, now there's no budget specifically for farmers in the budget estimates. But however, for agriculture, there's always this catch-all project that they call agricultural support project. And for example, I think based on this year's budget, the amount allocated would have been around 3 million this year, right? So that catch-all project is for basically, I don't want to sound cynical, right? But it's like a slush fund for the ministry, right? Because there's nothing exactly pinned to it. So if they want to buy, let's say, give it all this stuff, the inputs to the farmers, they can buy it from that and just give out that kind of way. So there's that project that's ongoing that they can dip into. So if they want to, if they wish, they could take some money from that, put it in a credit union, put it somewhere to, do what they have to do if they wish. But that's that part. So those are the two questions.
Yeah, Yahsonn?
Yes. Okay, good. The thing is, seemingly Bankie and a number of persons are, seeking to drop their questions in at this late hour, we're going to be wrapped. So here's what we're going to do, right? We're going to let you know that We want the conversations to continue on the various platforms. So, Kyle, we are on Facebook. Troy, we are also on YouTube. And some of these where most of the conversations are. So you can, continue and maybe respond to some of them even offline. And folks who are listening, share the links, go over to our YouTube platform and subscribe and be a part of it. There's a number of questions and a number of comments coming in. I see Troy Sadia saying, brothers, I totally agree. Remember, there's no force without a push and no push without a force. And so, I guess they're in agreement with you guys speaking up and speaking out and really defending what you need to defend where agriculture is concerned. You might not be able to respond to some of the questions, but I'm going to read them out just to make sure that the comments are heard. Is it the consortium that has the issue with the local business persons damaging their business place and causing loss of revenue with their business? If so, why? No, okay. So to correct that, no, it's not the consortium, Balby Jones. I think you're talking about SPACs. That's the Sandy Point Agricultural Cooperative. They would have had some issue with the farm, a truck damaging the area where they do the selling in Sandy Point. And so that issue, they were on our platform, and I think they would have spoken about that. And so just to correct that caller, that person on the YouTube wall, that no, it's not the same consortium, totally different organization altogether. Mighty Servant says, blessings to Troy Flanders, damn good man. Troy said, I guess they're waiting for the foreign farmers to come in and then the cannabis industry would grow. Well, we will be out because the leaders would take over diplomatically. There's too little transparency. Bobby Jones says, indeed, the capital needed and the high fees and the taxes to come will deter the local farmers who don't have the money to keep up. Mighty Servant says, since the guys aren't speaking for the consortium, and Kyle keep referencing the consortium being the house for major farmers, it would be interesting to hear the consortium's views on these matters. Troy Sadia says, brothers, I totally agree. Okay, but we read that already. He says, now as farmers who are in relationships with other farmers, to your estimation, have you seen $3 million spent? I don't know where you get the figure from, but in your estimation, that's the last comment on the wall. Jetty Taylor over on this other side says, this is on the Facebook. Okay, so we had Lorette Wharton saying good evening all. Jean Daniel saying watching online, enough love Bankie. Orin Otto Heiliger says, yes, Kyle, I remember the days of Warner Park. The exhibition has taken a different tone. I guess this would have been back when you were talking about the Agri Open Day. And
Open Day.
Yes. Jetty Taylor says, welcome. Oh, sorry. But anyway, Samuel was supposed to understand agriculture better than any other previous minister. He says that he is a disappointment. And so, yeah, these are just some of the comments that are on the wall. And we're getting closer to that point, Bankie, where we're going to have to wrap things up for this evening. It's a lot of things, a lot of things to discuss. And we definitely have to get you guys back. I was glad that you guys get an opportunity to share your position, because there was a lot of questions out there as to why these guys wanna come out and protest and try to upset the people when they have all these officials in and so on and so forth. So I was glad that you guys were able to put it into perspective and give the backtrack and the history of some of what's going on, because for people who may not know, they may think that you guys will just come up.
Let me take this last call, Yahsonn, and
I guess
no problem. The call stop. Go ahead, and if you call a call back, then we can take the call. But if anything, continue, Yahsonn.
Okay, yeah. So, just to put it into perspective, that people understand that it's a couple of years now you guys would have been on this, and I could recall, back then when you guys were more vocal on a number of radio stations and media outlets and so on, you were expressing
All right, Yahsonn,
the
let me
issue.
take this call. Carla, good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, good evening. Let me
Yes.
get back in real quick today.
Yes.
Contrary to that caller that just came off, what I want to say to these two farmers and to the rest of the people who are listening is that last week we had, well, actually that was Tuesday night, sorry. We had a gentleman on from the Virgin Islands, Chikaro, I think his name was.
Yeah, Chicago.
And Chikaro. Yahsonn made an observation, and Yahsonn said to him, and I chimed in after Yahsonn along the same line that Yahsonn came in on. Yahsonn made the observation that he's turbaned up. He's turbaned up. He got a turban wrap on his head. And he's implying Rastafari, right? But what was astonishing about that to me was the response from Chikaro. What he said is that my appearance as having dread and a turban on here tonight doesn't matter because he is not coming in to dread. He's coming in to represent all of the people.
Yes.
And where I'm going with this is that the Rastaman them sometimes say that they don't want to participate in politics. And now here we are talking about one of the biggest topic for the Rastafarians now, marijuana. In order for any sector of the people to penetrate the society and the status quo, they need representation. And in order now for us to get this agriculture stuff right, we may need the farmers to represent on the top level. And that's what I want to say about that, in contrary to what the comments the other colleges made.
I appreciate it.
We need farmers at the table. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right, go ahead, Yahsonn.
Yes. Basically, I just love the fact that, as I was saying, I love the fact that you guys really went and explained the history of where you guys are coming from, and so that people understand that it's not something that you guys just get up out of the blue and start want to protest and so on. I'm glad that you explained, because I didn't understand to why all of a sudden we were not hearing much from the consortium in terms of the issues and so on. But then you explained that you guys had several meetings, and based on what was discussed and so on, you were able to say, okay, look, we're gonna give you a chance to do what you guys are supposed to, or what we agreed on. But then you realize months and months and months and nothing is happening. It got to almost 2 years plus, you said, and then you start agitating again. So just for clarity, I'm just glad that we were able to get the opportunity to hear from the horse's mouth, so to speak. And then we have organized now to hear from the other side, as Bankie would have had organized an opportunity for the PS to be on the platform. And we're hopeful now that we could maybe also get the minister to join, or maybe to join at another time, to really respond to some of these things, among other things that we will probably discuss when we have that opportunity. But we really want to thank you guys for coming forward and representing yourselves. And, well, you mentioned not necessarily consortium, but you guys are members of the consortium. So I want to give you an opportunity to both give your closing remarks. So I don't know who want to go first, maybe Troy or Kyle, take a minute and just wrap up, and we get ourselves out of here.
Yeah, I'll go first. I'd like to thank you guys for the opportunity. And as I say, Bankie, you got my number, so anytime you all on, please send me the feed that I could follow. Right?
Appreciate
Because
it.
no one gonna do lead into the program. But I prefer if you send me the feed, because sometimes I'm very busy. So
Yes.
I would like to say thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. And as Yahsonn said, I ain't think so much clear in the ear, because who not understanding what we did on that day is who don't want to understand. Because this conversation has been going on for years. Banky was a part of the program that we host on Win
Yes.
FM. Banky was a guest here on that program. That program actually started out when there was a lack of herbicides on the island. That's where the program started, right? That was sometime, was it 2, 3 years back, 2 years and something. So he ain't just come. So the challenges are still the same, and I would like to tell the farmers, yeah, we are in the planting season, so please, let us do the best we could. If you ain't put in nothing now, you cannot get a harvest for Christmas. So try and do as much as you could. Christmas is one of the busiest time for farmers in terms of finances. You get a lot of sales, so try and put in as much as we could. Right now in the planting season, from now right up to Easter, them are our two best times, Christmas and Easter. So let me try and put in as much as we could. In spite of the challenges, let me put our best foot forward. Thanks for the time.
All
Okay.
right, Kyle.
All right. So in wrapping up, I just want to say that let's just set the record straight that farmers are not looking to be an antagonist to the government, but it's just so happen the government holds a lot of what we require to get the job done. A lot of policies, a lot of things we can't do, certain things that are own is just in the hands of the government, right? Even in America, farmers still have to look to the government for assistance. So we're not looking for any back and forth. We just want to. We think it's a simple thing. We're just looking for a voice to help to push the sector forward. And so I want to thank you guys for giving us this platform. So it's just another way to amplify our voice. And so we hope that the word is spreading and it's spread further thanks to you on multiple platforms. So we appreciate that very much. And we
Yes.
we love this sector. We love farming, and it's just passion. It about the politics or anything like that. We just want to see it get better. And unfortunately, I feel as though the public is not going to really understand much until they realize they go into a shop or store and the shelves are empty. But as long as those boats coming in, they might be a little, because that's what people were like, why y'all protesting? Y'all shouldn't be protesting. But if they understood that, but wait, not on the shelf, I understand what's going on now, then they would be a little bit more, empathetic towards the plight of the farmer. So just thank you guys again, and you can have us on whenever you want to, whenever you feel you need to, advance the conversation. We are available. And I know you have an extra also. So know that we also do talk politics, right? So that's just it. We do talk topics too. So I know you have an extra. So let's put that out there.
That'll be the
right?
Tuesday
So,
show. That'll be
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
Tuesday. We can talk
Yeah, so-
politics if you. All right.
Just let you know that, right? So thanks a lot.
Gentlemen,
Thanks a lot, guys. Yeah.
Yes, I greatly appreciate you guys for coming on and express yourself and clearing the ear and educating the general public about yourselves and what how what you've been doing as a farm and also around the consortium. Definitely, we have the topics on Tuesday, but this Tuesday coming up, we'll have Sam Kanda, and then on Friday, and that will be on the topics on Tuesday, and on Friday we have Jade, which is a herbal doctor, Jade over in Newcastle, about the experience. We will speak about herbal medicine and parasites and stuff like that. So one of these Tuesday we'll get you and Troy back where you can talk politics in a sense that Troy as himself run as a politician, so he can put on his different hat. And so once someone was telling me, well, this farmer look like a serious sharp farmer boy with the picture. So that was a late moment to try there. But gentlemen, it was a great show. Really enjoyed the engagement, and as you said, really enjoyed the information you all had to share and gather, and definitely looking forward for getting you guys back. So just want to say thanks to the listening audience and viewing audience. Because we told you guys we could not have a show, and you guys is the one who make this a success and continue supporting us. So greatly appreciate it. Yahsonn, over to you guys. Anything else? I mean, the show can be ended anytime.
Well, yeah. I'll just read one of the 20 last comments. Troy started to keep up the good work, brothers. Bobby Jones said thanks, Yahsonn, for that clarification. Brothers, for every show, invite 1 or 2 farmers so we can express the victimization on farmers. Bobby Jones said just replace both agriculture ministers on both islands and we will be okay. So, yes, people, give thanks. Kyle, Troy, really, really give thanks. We had an interesting show. Want to say give thanks and enough respect to the Real Entertainment Network team. Want to give thanks to all of you who participated, whether on the Facebook wall or by calling in. Want to encourage folks to go to the YouTube platform, subscribe, like, and share. And see you guys on Tuesday for another edition of the topics right here on Real Entertainment Network. Enough love, everybody.
All right.
Yes, I.
Oh.
With the man Bankie and Company, alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational, educational, and you won't want to miss it. It's everything agriculture. Hey, this man Easy, inviting you to tune in. It's all about everything agriculture. With the man Bankie and Company, alongside Yahsonn Tafari. It's your weekly educational show. And tune in. It's inspirational,